welcome back. I'm Tonya from Tonya's Witchy Kitchen, and how are you doing today? Are you stressed out because Christmas is almost here? Or are you not looking forward to it? Or are you one of those people who just doesn't like Christmas? Holidays are hard. You know, it's not just the in-laws and the outlaws and everything else. It's hard. I try to make it as easy as possible every year, but it just doesn't work. Nope. But, so, update on our baby calf that we had. Something stepped on its leg. And usually that means, you know, you have to shoot him. Yeah. But my husband decided to take a chance and take it to the vet and see if it was a clean break. And it literally was a clean break. And so he is hobbling around with a cast on in the pasture. I will put a picture here. So adorable. So cute. I was in the vehicle when I took the picture, and you can't see his mom, but she is like coming for me. Like, no way. You took him once, you're not taking him again. Yeah, that was the update on that. But since I'm going to post a few more of my priest's YouTube channels, or his channel, you know, the link below, you know, I wanted to tell you a story. There was a person, I'm not going to tell you who it was, but a person in my life who was like, how can you believe in God? Like, how do you even know he's there? How do you get there, you know? And in talking with my uncle, who's very well-rounded, you know, some of my relatives are very well-rounded, like, you know, you could have a competition with them. I'd lose, but, you know, but the question answer thing about faith and all that, and he told him, he said, just go sit outside in nature. He said, and look at it. He says, how can you doubt there is a God? And just looking at my bees, right? Just watching my bees. It's so amazing and it's so beautiful, and they're just so amazingly perfect at what they do. Okay, not all the time. Sometimes they draw the combs wonky, but still perfectly formed. And, you know, it's like, how can there not be a God? But, you know, my beliefs, absolutely. I'll post the link below if you want some more. You know, he starts out, there's 5 short videos introducing the awakening, as he calls it. Very interesting, because my husband has talked about people being asleep. These people that are asleep and they won't wake up, you know, and then, you know, 5 years later, my priest is talking about this awakening, and I'm just like, this is really cool. But okay, I'll keep this one short because the last one was really long. But today, you know what we're doing. You know absolutely what we're doing. We're going to make that body cream. I will finish off showing you how I finish my bed sheets. Okay, so be kind, be forgiving, be you. And let's go check out how our formulated body cream turns out and the end of the batch sheets. Okay, and now to our recipe. So if you don't know how to work percentages, like when you're changing your recipe, you know, percentages, fractions, I mean, all that, ratios, all that stuff you thought was a waste is just an excellent tool in your formulations. So basically every percent times 4 ounces, because that's my goal is 4 ounce batch. Every percent times that. It's that simple. We don't want a math lesson today, right? So in starting, we go right away to our distilled water. We're going to go to a 2.4, but actually I went to a 3 ounces because my calendula and my oatmeal are going to suck up some of that water. I do heat the water first, and I'm actually changing it from whole oatmeal to ground oatmeal just because, you know, for whatever reason, that's how I am. And then my calendula has a lot number, so I put that in there really quick. And then, you know, the ground oatmeal is one I just purchased for my soaping, so it should have a somewhere it has a lot number. But just getting them put in the hot water and mixed up really well so they can infuse, steep, steep, like a tea. And then I'm just going to cover it and and set it to the side. Now the next part of this is going to be creating our lotion, and that was my witch hazel, which I added my batch number 2, remember that? And then we are adding some glycerin. I've already got the witch hazel in there, sorry. Forgot to start the camera. Little bit of glycerin in there, and then we are going to add all the butters and oils and all that ewax, stearic, everything to my little pot there. That's not a pot. My little Pyrex dish. And talking about these master batch sheets, we're using this one as it's a printed one off. Okay, we're pretending this was already filled out and I'm printing it off, and I printed it off. Okay, I am adding the lot numbers as I go, as I pull ingredients and stuff. But just remember that. Pretend it's all printed off and everything's in there, and we're just using this as a recipe card. That green oil is my fractionated coconut infused oat straw. That's what that was, if you were curious about why it was so green. I mean, there was a lot of things I could have used infused things here and shown you, but I was just like, I gave you a good example in the other video. So like I said, just going through, adding the ingredients. My whole oil phase and my whole water phase is going to all be in one container, literally. So, when you see lotions and they're like your water phase, your oil phase, or your A phase or your B phase, everything goes in that possibly can be added, not the preservative, not the fragrance oil, stuff like that. Okay, just my ingredients. And here is we're going to strain our concoction here. It's beautiful yellow. It smells actually really yummy, very yummy, and seemed very creamy. See, there's a colloidal, there's some stuff left on top. Some of it will get pushed through, and that's exactly what I want. And then you just strain it out. Important to note, if you are short in the tea making part, just add a little bit extra of distilled water to get you to your original water amount. Next step, of course, is to emulsify this together. And I did mix it with a spatula. Or no, I mixed it with that knife. That's what I was like, did I? Yeah, no. And then we emulsify for 2 minutes. So, the boring part of the lotion making, but an important part in the lotion making. So I won't make you watch the full 2 minutes. Okay, and our next product is the vitamin E T50, which can be added at higher temperatures than just a regular vitamin E oil. After that is our preservative, Optifen Plus. And I want you to note that I put this in at 0.07 instead of the 0.04. And so down below where it's any other changes or overages in products, I list that down below. And then next goes the fragrance oil, which is a blend that I created. It's called Melting Icicles. It's got notes of vanilla, chocolate, peppermint, pine, and something else. I can't remember. But then once I add those ingredients in, when they're at a lower when my lotion's at a lower temperature, it wasn't really hot to begin with. It was like 145, because just to melt the stearic and stuff like that. I emulsify it again for a little bit with my stick blender, but after that I'm going to use my spatula there to continue mixing, because I don't want all the air bubbles in this. No air bubbles. I hate air bubbles in lotion. It's a thing. But I will continue to do this as it cools. You can see it's already sticking to the spoon, which tells me at this temperature it's going to be a pretty thick lotion, which is what I wanted, right? So I will just mix it here and there and let it cool. Let's talk about pH testing the lotion. Being the lotion is even though it's not thick right now, you can't really pH test it as it is. Maybe with a pH tester, but not pH strips. So what you want is 90% water and 10% of the lotion. And see, it's still really thin. So to me, this is the best time to test it, because otherwise, if I forget, then I have to let the lotion sit. And it takes a while for it to disperse into that water because, the molecules are all, that emulsifier is holding it together. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to do. I guess I never thought to take my little mini immersion or mini, what is that? It's the little whisk, to it. That might have helped. But anyways, you need 90% water, 10% of your solution. Get it and take your pH strip and test it, and voila, we are right between. It's 5 and a 6. It's hard to see, but which is to me perfect for my lotion. You don't want it to be too acidic because that would be really bad. And once you do the formula, you don't have to keep pH testing it unless you change something like the preservative or you add a different water or something like that. Then you really should test it. So now that it's thick, it's about 95 to 99 degrees at this point. And of course, this is for me. I don't even have gloves on, you guys. This is my batch. But it's really nice. Like, I have been using it all week at my desk while I work, and I just can't help to see how soft my hands are. Even though this is a body lotion, right? It has to make its way to my bathroom first. But yeah, really nice and creamy. And even though it's a really thick cream, it passed the snap test, which is important. Now, there are lots of improvements and changes you can make to this. You could have an infused glycerin. You can always swap out the oils for your other preferences. We didn't put an extract in this, but I mean, tons of extracts that you could use. Fragrances, you can add different powders. We didn't add any aloe root powder. You could add what is that, allantoin. It just, the sky's the limit on changing and rearranging this recipe to make it your own. And but yeah, I just had to play with it. But using the batch sheet now, let's finish this off. Okay. We're pretending that this is not our master sheet. This is just one we printed from the master sheet. Okay. So to fill it out, we check the pH. It's not used in other products, which I forgot to circle, but no, it's not used. Like if it was hyaluronic acid serum at 1%, I would say yes, this is used in other products, because it can be used as it is if somebody orders it, or I can put it in lotions and other things. So what is it packaged in? It goes in my 4-ounce double wall jar with a white lid. That is not the jar. That's my jar that I use for stuff. And it has a 1-band label. It filled 3.75 ounces approximately of the jar. I did whip it a little bit again, and that's how it goes. So this, I'm going to put it in that little container because it's a samples held back. Yes, I am holding a sample back. It's important to do that and keep them. I'll fill that little jar up so I have a good amount, and keep them on hand and look at them, 2 years down the line and see what you have. Did it hold up? Did it perform well? It's good to keep that in case, somebody comes back and says, mine is rotten. I've never had that happen, knock on wood, but you don't want that to happen either, right? Now, this is not the label for this product, obviously, but I'm just showing you. I would tape the label down below, or if it's sticky, I would stick it on there, just to show what the label was and ingredients and how it was labeled. I lost my train of thought. But that's how, my finished sheets would look. Okay? Now, if this was the master sheet, remember this. If this is the master sheet recipe, do not fill in the dates, do not fill in the batch number because you're creating a new one. Do not fill in that bottom part because you're creating a new one. And that way you can just take your master recipe and make a copy, and boom, there you have it. It's laid out all nice in front of you for all the information you need on what you made. And also, don't forget to update your number at the end for the number of batches made. Here is our body cream. I hope you had a good time. Thank you for dropping by, and I will see you next time. God bless.